Okay, I'm just waking up if you can't tell. I think I might have caught something. I'm not sure. Feels like I caught a little bug out there. So we'll see how my body tolerates it. I think I've caught it about, oh no, I just realized, where is it? I think I've caught it like 3 times. Anyway, we'll just see how it goes, but you never know how those things go. And this is why we try to keep our immune system strong. I'll probably be taking a little vitamin C today, which I don't normally do. Well, normally it's in my nutrients. I'm putting on a heat pack right now. It's kind of cold this morning. And let's go ahead and do the clean water routine. Why? Well, because this is exactly, in my opinion, what keeps us healthy. Need some clean water. And let's go ahead and grab that today. I leave my my carbon distiller on at night, and I wake up to clean water. That's how nice it is. I'm going to put on my my apron so that when I get going on this, I won't stain my clothes. Not from the water, of course, but from the hydrogen smoothie. So, basically what I'm showing you guys here is I've done a lot of homework. What I've come to realize after all this research and everything that I've done is that good health is not particularly a super difficult thing. Don't know if you need a ton of supplements or stuff like that. Let's see here. With meal. Okay. It's vitamin C says to take with a meal, so I'll just take some extra with my smoothie today. Personally, I think I'll be fine. I can just kind of feel it. When you can just kind of feel like you've got something, but I've been through that quite a few times, so hopefully, as I'm sure everybody else has, but I feel fine. Just should be cautious not to give anything to anybody else. All right, but I probably shouldn't talk about that actually, because then people will comment and then we get in trouble because, we don't have free speech. Maybe it's just the flu. How about that? Just got the flu from somebody. There have been a lot of people still coughing around me. Like I went to the store and then made a trip to the bank, and there's just people coughing everywhere, which is kind of weird. I think it was just coincidence. Okay, so harvested the clean water. This is what we do. If you want, in my personal opinion, really good health, you just have to have the cleanest water. And when I say the cleanest, I'm not talking about a refrigerator filter or even some other filter. RO filters are all right. In my opinion, they're second best, which is not a bad place to be. I'm going to add minerals where just 1 drop early. There's still a little water in here, but that's okay. Just put 1 drop. Put it back in here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make some water while I make my smoothie. This is how you fill it up. People have been wanting to know, well, how do you do this particular machine? You saw how I did it there. Slide out this cafe, I think that's what they call it. I fill mine with RO water because that's what I have access to. When I had my Berkey going or my carbon distiller, or I'm sorry, my Alexa Pure, I would fill it up with that water because then that allows me to avoid putting the carbon filter on the carbon distiller, just because I have access to these filters, because I've basically purchased about every different type of water filter there is. So you know what, while that's filling up, let's just not waste any time. Let's see, I'll start with the smoothie actually. And while that thing's filling up, and I get that rolling. Okay, so the smoothie is, again, overcoming any nutritional deficiencies. That's the purpose of it. I think I'm going to add something to it today just because I have it. And let me check the expiration date, because if I don't use this stuff, November. I guess I got time. I don't have to use it. You know what though? I forgot. This is extra vitamin C. Forgot it says right on there. Let's do some of that today. And then the powder I have has everything else. So you can see here, and remember, it's food form. So if you look really close, it's got like, let's see here, a lot of zinc. It even has natural iodine, and all this stuff is from food. And that's the way that I like it. I don't really like to take many pills or multivitamin pills, nothing that I would do on the regular. Um, you know, if there's an emergency day or something and I want to take a little, then that's what I'm going to add. I'm going to add some vitamin C powder actually. I might take even the vitamin C pill. It's a rarity for me. But you know, you got to nip things in the bud. That's always the key, by the way. Preventative, nipping things in the bud, or you don't want to let things get too far gone. That's where, in my opinion, things get kind of more difficult, as they say. Okay, let me fire up. I just fired up my carbon distiller. That's going to clean my water, and now I can get on with making my morning smoothie. So, boy, I'm really going through this stuff. I'll take this guy out. I don't think I need to have that in. I think that's for the moisture. So this has, well, even vitamin C. Let's see, I'm sure it's got it. This stuff is like a multivitamin, which is why I use it. The only nutrient that I see at zero is vitamin D, and we're going to add some separately because that's the one nutrient is hard to get from food, and that's my point. Everything I want is from food. Vitamin C, yeah, it has some. Not a ton though, so we're going to add a little extra today. And I add these powders to the smoothies because no matter how many fruits and vegetables I put in here, it's just not enough, you know? And you know what? I think I'm going to, why am I going through this so quickly this month? I'm going to have to get some backup or something. Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to add some raw cacao just because I had access to it, organic raw cacao. It's really good for you, activating stem cells and whatnot from what I read. You know, remember, look at all these ingredients. They're all food. If you look at the ingredients on something like this, it just says organic cacao. That's it. No added sugars or any weird stuff. This is a vitamin C powder that I don't normally use, but let's add that in today, just for the heck of it. And what else we got here? We got a lot of stuff. Okay, let's go with that right now. All right, now the first thing I like to put in after the powders is always the greens. I'm like giving these instructions on the smoothie because I've had people either trying to make them and they're not quite mixing the way that they wanted to mix. And of course, I have other people messaging me. In fact, I think I had a message, it was either today or yesterday or something. And somebody was commenting about their husband's been doing the smoothies and they just really, really love it. And she says, she says, well, I'm not really drinking them because I'm diabetic. And I'm thinking, might want to look at the data on that. You'd be surprised what fruits and vegetables can do for diabetes. There was this one guy, it really made me laugh, I gotta say. I'm not trying to make fun of him, but he was diabetic and he said he didn't want to eat fruit because it had too much sugar. And by the way, you should see the way fruit affects blood glucose levels, like when you actually eat the fruit versus, you know, just the sugar. It just doesn't process the same. And anyway, there's just something about the phytonutrients, the fibers. This is why I use the whole thing, the whole nature's food here, right? But anyway, it was a funny story because then he would go into how he likes to eat candy bars. And I'm like, wait a second, candy bars? I thought you were diabetic, you know? And he's like, yeah, well, you know, I'll have one of those. It almost sounded like he was having at least once a day. And yet he was trying to avoid fruit. It just kind of made me laugh. Like, that doesn't make no sense. But, you know, throughout this health journey, I mean, I'm going to do my own thing no matter what. But I've people constantly, in fact, it just happened, I think yesterday. people constantly try to modify the protocol, but once you modify it, it's kind of not really the protocol. You're changing it. They're like, oh, I'll just do my own thing. Like, yep, basically it means, people think that they know better, and that's fine. It doesn't bother me, but I've definitely found what works because I've seen it work multiple times. So, but that's okay. It's all about the blood, by the way. It really is all about the blood. You have to understand how to get blood where it needs to be. You have to understand how to get the nutrients in the blood, how to get the blood to move, how to make the blood not too greasy and fatty where it really can't reach where it needs to reach. All the little secrets. As far as the hydrogen, so I already did it. I did it in the morning, obviously, when I first woke up. And today, there's a lot of things we can cover. I really think, in fact, I don't know if you guys heard, and I say this quite often. I just really think that one thing that people don't think enough about is the relationship between your health and your happiness. And I know that may sound really weird, but I've discovered that it's extremely important. Now, some people may be like, no, happiness is all about having a lot of money and doing stuff. And, I would say that there's two different types of happiness. I know that sounds probably kind of weird, but I say two types because you either make your flesh happy. So, yeah, maybe you have a fancy car and go out to fancy dinners or whatever, and really delicious, fancy food that maybe is not super good for you, but, you know, delicious and makes you happy for a little moment. And then there's that deep down, I would call it more of like a spirit happiness. You have your happiness, the kind of happiness from like, when somebody has a child or maybe falls in love, these type of things. And let's go ahead and get the water off these guys. But I think it's really, really important to have your health because I feel like it maximizes the things you can do in your life. And that will bring more productivity, but also more happiness. That's the thing about like America. You'd think they'd want to like feed us super, super healthy, make America and other countries, of course, but like, really healthy. In fact, I noticed like the laws that Japan has about certain things. Like there are things, and I won't name the products. They actually do have to do with hydrogen, but I won't name any of them. And there's certain products that basically have ingredients in them that are illegal in other countries, like, well, at least Japan. And I know that there's more, but I know Japan specifically. And yet people pop these, pills and different things. And like it's no big deal in America. And some of this stuff even is touted as a health product. It's unbelievable to me. Literally stuff that Japanese wouldn't even put in their food. And yet it's completely legal in America. What a shocker, huh? Disappointing is what it is. I want to see them, I don't know. I want to see people I would love to see a healthy, vibrant country. We rely so much on the medical field, medical establishment. I know so many people who, how many people are in pharmaceuticals? Or how many people can survive without them? Or are they completely dependent on them? Well, I'll tell you one thing. These particular protocols, in my personal opinion, and I mean, I've seen it, but yes, in my personal opinion, I've seen them, deal with a lot of common issues that people have, whether it's type 2 diabetes, blood pressure, cholesterol. In fact, somebody, maybe I should make a video about that. There was, I won't name names. I'm not sure if he wants to be known, but he has issues with his cholesterol and a blockage in his heart. He's been following my hydrogen protocol really diligently. The funny thing was is that he was using hydrogen for a little while now, but he really wasn't following the full protocol, and he didn't know that he had these issues. By the way, these are sun-dried raisins soaked in hydrogen water. And this particular guy started following the protocol diligently, and then apparently his doctor was really surprised at the results he got. And he was like, what'd you do? You know, because there wasn't anything the doctors did. And then he's like, told you, man, the hydrogen stuff. And they were like, really? Okay, interesting. And I'm trying to make more hydrogen raisins right now. If I don't do it right now, guys, I'll forget. By tomorrow, I'll be like, oh man, where are my hydrogen raisins? Now, why hydrogen raisins? Well, look, raisins are good. They're kind of like prunes in a way, as far as good for bowel movements. So the whole smoothie is good for bowel movements. I mean, the whole smoothie is good for your GI system. It's really important that you move your bowels. Just super, super important. I'm out of raisins, so let me go grab some of those. But it's just extremely important to move the bowels, and a lot of people don't know what a normal amount to move is, and typically it's anywhere between at least go to the bathroom one day. I mean, really, when I say at least, I mean like, yeah, at least. And, and it's anywhere between 1 and 3 times. I mean, 3 times is real nice, and you have to get that crap out of you. And you have to have really good hydration too. You know, these are just basics. I mean, when I say basics, I mean, I really mean absolute basics to health and life, in my personal opinion, what I've discovered. And it works, you know. And what I did already, to follow in my own personal hydrogen protocol, which I basically do every day. So again, I was choosing raisins for helping move bowels. It makes things kind of sweet, so it brings a nice flavor. But one of the things that got me on it, and I've been using them for a while, and I kind of did it before I even knew this, was boron. So I'm going to make some right now. These are just my raisins. I'm going to put you can either put clean water, or you can put hydrogen water if you have access to it. I personally think the hydrogen will enhance them, but that's not always the case. Let's see here. And I put a top on it. I think the top kind of just helps a little bit. Keep a little bit of the hydrogen in there. Okay, second one is hydrogen walnuts. So I drank my hydrogen water already. That's always part of the protocol. Okay, you guys want to know the protocol? It's really simple. I've been able to simplify it and make it extremely effective. This is not medical advice, obviously. No medical claims here, but basically, obviously, I make the super clean water, and I put it in literally the best hydrogen machine there is out there. It's a Japanese one, proper metal tech. All the technology is literally the highest that I've seen, and I've seen every hydrogen machine out there. I'll tell you one thing, this is not medical advice either, but I would certainly not drink any hydrogen water where they use at least chemicals like lye. I personally would not do that. I'll just say that I've seen some bad things happen from drinking that water. I've tried it myself, but and I personally would not drink any of the water made from the hydrogen pills. So just so you know, that's my personal opinion, and there are reasons for it, but I'm not going to say anything beyond that because, well, I'll just tell you that there's some people out there who make, kind of like YouTube, they make your life difficult, and so they try to shut me up. Really, guys, that's really what it comes down to. So I won't say all the details. I have some really great details, but it's too bad. It's too bad, that they don't want people to see the truth. That right there would make me cautious. But anyway, okay. So I just put some hydrogen walnuts in there. Why do I soak the nuts in water? Because they're dry. The key to health, in my personal opinion, again, is you need a lot of water in the system. The GI requires a lot of water to digest meals. This is why I always drink the hydrogen water before meals on an empty stomach. And you know what? I'm just going to use, for the walnuts, I'm not going to do hydrogen for tomorrow because I don't have enough with me right now. I want to use it on this smoothie, so I'll just put some clean, decent water for the walnuts. I use them for the raisins more. Okay, let's put some actual clean water or hydrogen water into the smoothie as we go. You're going to notice I do that, otherwise it just won't blend. So let's see here. We have a lot of anti-cancerous and a lot of, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of anti-cancerous ingredients, lots of anti-parasitic ingredients. Pretty shocking. Oh, look at that. I have a little bit of smoothie from yesterday. That's kind of nice. As I share it with people. And, oh no. Oh no, guys. You know what? Seriously? Oh, good. I almost thought I was out of an ingredient that I find very important to have in my smoothie. And very powerful ingredient. And hallelujah, we have it. So for a second I thought I was out of it. Okay, there we go. And that ingredient would be over here. Natto. I was like, no, gotta have my natto. So let's see here. I don't know where we could talk about diabetes. Somebody was asking about that, but it wasn't in the room. I prefer to answer your questions while you have me here live right now. If you have any questions, this is a really good time. But people don't seem very talkative this morning. I'm not really that talkative this morning either. Kind of just waking up. Let's see. I'm going to wash. Everything's organic. We want to lower the pesticide load as much as possible. The reason that I invented this smoothie was because of a study, actually. I was always confused with what was better. I was trying so many things when I was sick. I did a lot of juicing, which I'm not saying juicing's bad by any means, but I'm sure there's a time and a place. But way too time consuming, way too expensive. And from what I'm finding out from a lot of the research, the fiber in these fruits and vegetables, straight up magical. I think this is going to be the next big wave of what happens is there's all these different health kicks out there. There's always something like, oh, everybody should eat celery. You know, everybody should eat nothing but meat. Everybody should be on the Atkins side. Didn't that guy die of a heart attack? But anyway, you know, it's always the next fad. And what they do, I don't feel like they're actually really trying to like show you a way to be healthy. These are like different diets. Like when people go on different diets and then they go on another diet, then they go off the diet and then they gain weight. And you know, it's like all these yo-yo stuff. And there's no, let me tell you something. And I mean, am I surprised people fall for it? I guess maybe not. But health is not complicated. And you know, people always say things like, "Well, you should eat fruits and vegetables," but most people don't. Even if they think they do, you'd be surprised how much the body needs as far as fruits and vegetables are concerned. Um, and I see it all the time. And that's the purpose for this smoothie, and it's also the purpose for the hydrogen, because it is hard to consume everything that you're going to need as far as health wise. And so just having the hydrogen water in the morning, now I drank 1 liter. That was really like, that's the really good number if you have healthy kidneys. Again, no medical advice. Now we're going to put a very magical ingredient. This is a very, very special ingredient. This normally would not go in a smoothie. This is something that people normally eat in Japan, but most people in America would not like the flavor. Now the key is there's a garbage ingredient here. This is, in my opinion, the poison. This goes in the garbage. I want the raw material. The mustard, it's a tiny little packet of mustard. This part's okay. I save it for certain things. Don't use it very often, actually. What I was really looking for is this raw material. This is a fermented bean. Now, let me tell you something. In my personal opinion, Well, for one, there's a lot of good science on beans. Beans are extremely good for you. A lot of good data on that. In my personal opinion, you can't even be a healthy vegetarian without beans. You just can't. Beans are just so important. They kind of substitute for meat, and very, 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 very good for you. Now, this has to be most likely the most powerful, healthy bean on planet Earth because it's fermented. It's called natto. The Japanese have done, and you activate it by stirring it like this. A lot of people don't like the flavor. Some people really love it. It just takes time to get acclimated to it, kind of like beer. And this stuff is rich in vitamin K, rich in a lot of protein. I mean, so much protein you actually have to be cautious with how much you eat. I believe they don't want you to eat more than like 3 or 4 of these little packs a day. It also thins your blood naturally, which is a good thing to get it a little thinner. Again, you want your blood moving. That's why you don't want to eat a lot of greasy stuff because it makes your blood all thick and greasy and it doesn't, you don't get the blood where it needs to go when it's too greasy. This is the reason that I do the combination. So my protocol, it may look like not anything particularly complex. And I mean, it probably could be really complex if you wanted to talk about it like a scientist. And I hate doing that because it alienates people and then people don't really totally understand it. Maybe there's a few, science geeks out there who like it, but not me. I want to explain things very simple. And I mean, all of this food can get really complicated on a molecular level. And if you want to talk about every enzyme and every mineral and, it can be complex. But this is how simple this is. You stir it, you activate it. It's got live enzymes in here, nattokinase or nattokinase, depending on how you want to pronounce it. And it's been shown to oxygenate cancer cells, by the way. And the Japanese have done numerous studies on this stuff. And it is, in my personal opinion, amazing. So that's why I put it in there just about every morning. Today I thought maybe I wasn't going to be able to, so I was going to be a little sad. I'm like, but it's okay. I've done it without it. But really good for you. And I threw in the smoothie one day because I'm like, you know what? How do you consume this every day? I know how good natto is for you. So I'm like, I try to figure out how to do things like that. Like, okay, what can we do every day? I mean, the whole purpose for the smoothie originally was because of a study, like I said, that I read in Japan, where I found out that you could regulate blood glucose. And by the way, that's very important, even if you're not diabetic. And if you could regulate blood glucose throughout the entire day in this particular study from eating vegetables first thing in the morning. And I thought, well, vegetables? Who in the world is going to eat vegetables first thing in the morning? Seriously, I got to finish up these beets. Hey, look at these. These look like they're all bad. Oh, they got some good stalks in there. You know what? Okay. I want to salvage as much as I can here just because I know these are good for you. And they actually taste good. I like the earthy flavors. A lot of these leaves are bad though, but I like the stems. They're colorful, and I remember reading some good stuff about them. I can't remember right off the top of my head what the benefits are. I'm sure you could Google them right now. Beet stems, what are they good for? And so I'm going to save some of those. And so these leaves are kind of look pretty bad. And so anyway, the study, like I said, basically it just showed that eating vegetables first thing in the morning was really good. Now, the thing I liked about the study that was, I personally think quite interesting, is that they didn't understand why. This was like a surprise. Like I said, this study, you'll probably hear it in America, probably 10 years from now. Japan's pretty far ahead of everybody when it comes to diet and health and things of this nature for the most part. They do a lot of great studies. They're really into health in Japan. And so I was like, well, how are you going to get vegetables in yet? And why are they doing this? Why are they affecting the body like this? And it ended up bringing upon a discovery. A really interesting discovery. This one looks good. So does this one. They ended up discovering something new about the human body, which is crucially important, for health. It's funny how many health channels there are out there, and I gotta say, I'm not trying to like knock any of them. I'm not going to name them. But I'm just a little surprised, that they're supposed to be health people, and I'm a little surprised sometimes um, the information given and bad information. You know what it is? Oh, that's right. I realized I forgot. It's because I already found some of these channels, they take money from, that's what it is. Yeah, the money corrupts it all. The information, sometimes the supplements, stuff like that. But anyway, the point is these vegetables that were regulating blood glucose all day, by the way, not for a little while, all day. And I was like, well, that's a good thing. I'll do that. How do I do it? So I had to invent this smoothie. What was beautiful about the discovery, this is the part that I like, is that it brought about new knowledge. It brought about new knowledge about how the human body works, because that was something that they didn't understand at first. And then eventually they found out that it had to do with the fiber, specifically the fiber from the vegetables. So again, the fiber in the fruit is a little different. So this is what I mean about, you want these magical fibers from all these fruits and vegetables that just happen naturally. And they do things to the body that we don't completely understand, but it makes basically perfect sense to, I mean, we've always known vegetables are good for us. I mean, you know what they always say? Make sure to have your fruits and vegetables. Everybody always says that. Not, well, there are people these days who are like, no, no vegetables, they're terrible for you. And personally, I think that's a very silly perspective. And I like to look at every perspective. That's the thing. I'm not biased. I'm not going to try to be married to my ideas, guys. In fact, there was a guy, this was interesting. He was really big on the whole carnivore thing. He went on a carnivore. He's actually a doctor, and he went on the carnivore diet. And the blood work showed that it definitely was not doing him any favors. There's a lot of different issues, a lot of stuff. It wasn't just one little thing. It was a lot of things. And you know what surprised me the most is that, because I'm a guy that's all about just facts. If this was to show that it's not helping me, then I'll find a different way. Whatever it is that works. That's all I care about. Whatever works. Well, what surprised the heck out of me, this guy was in total denial. Like, he was like trying to like say, well, yeah, but you know what? If these levels are high, it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, dude, what are you talking about? Like, he was in complete denial over it. It was very odd. But I've seen that a lot. I've seen it, man. I've seen it with. I could give you countless examples. I could start trying to remember them all. And that's the thing. I don't understand, because I'm not going to be biased. Like, there was oh man, I shouldn't even tell you these examples unless you guys really want to hear them. But it was the same thing with some hydrogen equipment. There was actually one guy who was getting sick from it. He was using a machine. I won't name machines or equipment or anything, but I can tell you that it used a chemical and called lye. But there's a bunch of machines out there that do that. But anyway, he was getting sick and he was in denial too. He was like, "No, it can't possibly be the equipment." I'm like, dude. Of course, eventually he stopped using the equipment and he did feel better. And he's like, oh, and then he got back on it and he got sick again. He's like, okay, it was pretty clear that that's what was doing it. But some people are really married to their ideas. And in my personal opinion, you shouldn't be. And even my protocols, for some people, what if somebody's allergic to something? You know, I get it. So you just have to find, you know, kind of what works for you. But I think what kind of works for most people is going to be something, the good things are going to work for most people. Like, for example, clean water. I mean, I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with clean water. I don't think anybody will have problems with hydrogen made properly and safely. There's some basic things for health, you know, proper hydration, clean water, things like that. I know there's a lot of arguments about health, which really surprises me, actually. But a lot of people have gut issues. I'll say so many gut issues. I mean, I had gut issues too, but now my gut is incredible. I gotta say, I'm very, very. That's one thing I'm very happy with, is the condition of my gut. And this is how I got there. If my hydrogen's one of the most amazing tools. I mean, It's, no matter how many things I was trying, I gotta say, that really took things up a notch and changed a lot of things. So yeah, I got to give it its props. I mean, I do. I talk about it. I love hydrogen, but sometimes I try to be like, well, but you can also do this or do that. But you know what? I end up remembering that I did a lot of things, and just without the hydrogen, it just wasn't quite the same. I'll just put it that way. It really helped, and I think all these different things do help. But I've seen people, even people in my own family, who will be like, you know what? I'll just do the hydrogen and the clean water. Not too many people want to change the way that they eat and live their life, and that's cool. I mean, the thing you always have to remember is, whatever you do, we're going to be the ones to either reap the benefits or pay the price. So, by the way, does anybody know? Let me see if anybody made any comments. Where can you get natto? Order online? No. Oh, somebody already said it. Asian food stores must be frozen. Yep. And put in the refrigerator one before use. Oh, somebody's listening. Pretty much you have to buy local. Yep. That's about right. You can find, I think, sometimes online. Somebody told me they found it on there, but I don't know if it was delivered frozen or how that works. I would only assume online would be expensive or something like that, though. I believe if you can't find it in your area, which apparently a lot of people can't, you can make it yourself. So you can watch videos on how to make it. I don't make it. What I really want to do is I want to see the masters at work. There are people in Japan who are, I mean, really into their natto, really into it, and they make it. And I'm going to try to do some videos about that in the future. It's going to be kind of exciting. I mean, I'm kind of falling in love with it. There's a specific natto. It's more expensive. I did try it not long ago. There was a natto that tastes almost like buttery, which almost doesn't make any sense, but it was awesome. And I like the buttery one. But they're all good. They're not the most difficult thing to eat. They were at first. I mean, when I first one of the first times I went to Japan, it was a long time ago. There's a lot of things I didn't understand. This is why I really think, well, I think that we can learn things from a lot of different cultures. And I've definitely seen my share of different cultures and whatnot. But I am extremely impressed with a lot of the things from the Japanese culture. And I don't mean like, some people tend to think like, I don't know, people think of Japan, they tend to think of like Tokyo and electronics, and yeah, they're master electronics. They're masters at it. Hence, part of the reason that their hydrogen machine is the best machine there is, because part of it has to do with their electronics. There's a lot of people out there who try to make these silly videos, not only testing the machine incorrectly, but that I like, but they're basically trying to say it's impossible for it to make this much hydrogen, and yet it's been lab tested and certified, and it's like, guys, it has to do, and people have a hard time wrapping their head around it, because the people who have a hard time wrapping their minds around it just don't have the knowledge that the Japanese have. And you can't just poo-poo them because you don't understand it, but that seems to be the case. Well, plus they are hydrogen companies, so they're probably not going to want to admit that their products are inferior, and whatever, right? But no, they are definitely master electricians, and they're very detailed people. That's one of the reasons that I feel like, I don't know if I would say that I get along with them, and I do. I get along with, I mean, I've had many Japanese friends throughout the years, but I've had a lot of friends that are Chinese also. I've had friends from Vietnam. One of my best friends was Vietnamese. Um, Friends from um, Thailand. Friends, a lot of people from Asia. I mean, I've had a lot of friends, but also from South America, North America. I mean, just everywhere, really. But I've always been fascinated, because when you really dig deep into certain aspects of their culture, the parts that are my favorite parts, I find the origin of how this came to be, and it's almost always the same origin, which I find very interesting, and that is the monks. The monks try to make these practices for really good health, growing food certain ways, and I got some really huge health secrets, but I'm going to be sharing those in the future because I have to show you, and I can't show you here at this time. And that's going to be exciting. And let's see here. I feel like I'm forgetting something today, but I'm about to start this smoothie up here soon. Yes, it's going to get a little noisy. That's what happens. Carrot's got to be one of the more, it's one of my more favorite ingredients in this smoothie because remember, everything I try to get is organic. Sometimes that gets expensive, and then I always tell myself, I always have to almost like pinch myself a little, maybe like, dude, I know it's a little more expensive for the organic stuff, but remember where your health was. Remember you're suffering, and then all of a sudden, like, oh, okay, it doesn't matter. I'll spend it because when you suffer, probably willing to pay any price. And I'd rather prevent the suffering at this point. Do not want to suffer anymore. Suffering has been, it's interesting how it's affected me. I think everybody, one thing I've noticed about suffering is everybody seems to react kind of the same, but also kind of different. Like there was one guy, this was kind of shocking. His legs were literally bleeding and he had maggots on his legs. And he had some health issues, obviously. He was going to lose his legs. And his son had asked me for some help. And I was like, oh, yeah, I totally thought it was fixable, personally. And he got very excited. He's like, oh my gosh, okay, what do we have to do? And I told him, and his father didn't even try for, I don't even think he tried for one day. He's like, oh no, shoot. He's like, I can't do that. And he would sit down and stack up Oreo cookies and sit there and watch TV and eat them while his legs were bleeding and rotting because he just didn't want to change, And even though he was suffering, that's the crazy part. He was suffering and it just didn't matter. He just couldn't let go of these old ways and old habits. And it's very sad, very sad. But like I said, we all make our own choices. And you respect whatever choice anybody makes. But I'll tell you one thing. When I was suffering, I reacted very differently. And that's the fun, now that I'm thinking about it, that is an interesting thing about suffering. I feel like it kind of pulls something out of you from deep inside, like it kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Exposes maybe a part of yourself that maybe you were not aware of, you know? Because you never know how you're going to react to a situation. And when you do react to the situation, you kind of learn a little bit about yourself, Are you going to step it up or are you going to give up, And so that's kind of interesting, but I definitely stepped it up. I did not give up. Sometimes I wanted to, but I was in such a dire situation that for me it was almost like I would suffer and suffer, but I just wouldn't die. And I oftentimes, dare I say, just wanted to die. Like, you know what? This is too much. Way too painful. And I had to be patient because sometimes it takes a while to heal. So it wasn't like immediate. These things take time. And even to the point where, look at me now, I'm still decided I have to live this way because if I don't, pretty sure I'm going to go exactly back to where I was, And the thing is that this actually makes me, this is kind of weird, but this makes me feel very happy. And it's weird to say that. It's like, why in the world would this make you feel happy? Well, because I'm happiest. Well, there's a lot of things that have to do for my happiness, but I feel like it's foundational. You can't build a house on a faulty foundation, and I just can't build a happy life without health. I just can't, so that's why my health is so foundational, and I'm not going to give up. Still not giving. See, I'm still doing this. I mean, it's funny how I have friends who will see me, make the smoothie sometimes or come over and I'm drinking my smoothie and they'll be like, dude, are you still making those? Like years and years and years, And I'm like, what do you mean am I still making them? Of course I'm still making them. And they're just like, man, I don't know how you could do that. I would never be able to do that. Well, who knows? Maybe if you got really sick, you would, or maybe not, I wish somebody would have kind of explained it to me when I was younger. I wish somebody would have shown me. But a lot of people just don't know. That's what I've come to learn. I just feel like people, they just don't know what to do. I mean, I've had people contact me and they feel so confused because they're like, man, some people say I'm supposed to do this. Some people say I'm supposed to eat that. Some people tell me I'm supposed to use this product. And you know what's sad about it? Really sad. I'm not trying to toot my own horn at all. But I just find that I don't know. I just think the majority of people out there are wrong. That's why when I was trying to be healthy, I was trying to watch YouTubers and learn stuff too. And you know what? It was the data and the science that helped me more than all these people's opinions. The opinions and all these different channels, it was not the greatest. And then they change their mind all the time about what's good. All right, here's the minerals. So I'm going to add the minerals without salt to this because of all the fiber that's already in there and the way the minerals work with the fibers. So that works really well. Okay, I'm going to throw this in the blender. It's going to make some noise and then I'll answer some of your questions if you guys have them. Okay, let's go. Maybe we'll take this guy out. Take out the compost. Oh, that thing is chewing up my breakfast for me. You know what? That's one of the other good reasons to use the blender and make these smoothies because it really chews the food for you. We don't chew enough. We don't chew good enough. And it's so important for digestion. So the blender does a good job at that. Okay, we're going to grab some jars. Let's blend this up a little more. We're almost good. Okay. What are these jars doing here? Okay, it appears somebody put something in the wrong spot. What a surprise, man. Okay. There we go. I forgot we have a few more magic ingredients. We're going to let the blender settle down a little bit because I like how the fruits and vegetables will kind of go down. Oh boy, what's going on here? Do I have enough? I have enough. Okay, magic ingredient number 3. Okay, we're going to blend this up, put a little hydrogen water in these jars. Okay. Why do I put a little hydrogen water in there? I'm sure you guys already know by now, but the important part is that I load up on it in the morning. I obviously use it during the day. Let's just see. Do you guys think this is blended? Let me check one more time. Pretty smooth. Oh, sounds smooth. Let's try it. Okay. So we only pour the smoothie halfway. Let's hope this doesn't blow up in my face here. Hope we're good. Okay. So we're going to pour halfway. We'll see how it tastes today. Every day seems a little different. I think today's going to be a little different too because I put that vitamin C in it. Now that I'm remembering. Came out good. Came out good. Okay. This right here has got to be the most important ingredient. I kid you not. Even in my puring powder, this is missing. You cannot get enough of this stuff in your food, guys. It's just not possible. This is why we put it in the smoothie because this is like a multivitamin smoothie, and that's D3 with K2. In its ionic form is a second best way to get it. First is always food. That's almost impossible. The foods that have it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm thinking about putting an 8 today just because, oops, put 9. Just because trying to get a little extra in me. I probably have, my levels are probably extremely good though, but just thought I would do it because I thought I felt a little cold coming on, but I'm already starting to feel better. Can you believe that? I haven't even gotten my smoothie in me yet. I did get my hydrogen in me though. And we're about to get a little more. Now this one is good for your ionic boron, good for your bones, ligaments, brain, muscles, and what they call sex hormones. Not super hard to get it from your food. I do actually get a lot of this from my food and even my other minerals, but this one is also in its ionic form. And we're going to put some boron in here because this is one I've been experimenting with. And I'll just say definitely working, in my personal opinion. Okay, all right. So, next one, chlorophyll. This one was a gift, and I am digging it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna put. Oh shoot! Did you see what I just did? I just made an absolute mess. Oh my gosh. Oh lordy, this is not gonna be good. Oh man, I think I'm gonna get way too much chlorophyll in me today because I'm not gonna throw it away. Let's just hope I don't overdose on chlorophyll. Well, that's interesting. Let's go ahead and squeeze all that out and rinse off. I dropped it in the smoothie for people who aren't watching. Literally dropped chlorophyll. Tastes good though. Okay. Well, there's a little bit of stuff wasted. I hate to be wasteful. Very much like monks, by the way. They literally count each grain of rice. Can you believe that? They don't want to waste even one grain of rice. I find that commendable. I think we should waste less. It's better for everybody. But anyway, my goal is to not be wasteful, and I wasted a little bit. Oh my goodness. Look at all this stuff. Wow. Why is this leaking everywhere? Something's going on. Oh goodness. Yeah, I'm definitely going to get way too much chlorophyll in me today. Oof. I can taste it too. Why is this getting everywhere? That's my question. It's going to be very messy. This stuff is so green. Holy cow. Look at my hands. You guys want to see my hands? Look at this. This is like, okay. Maybe I was meant to have more chlorophyll in me today. Let's read the benefits of chlorophyll. I've read them before, but let's see what they do for the immune system. Maybe it was just destiny, guys. Okay. Let's make apples out of oranges. Or what? No, what is it? Make lemonade out of lemons. make apples out. Make apples out of oranges. That's good. Hey guys, let's make apples out of oranges. Yeah, that makes sense. Bunch of nonsense. Okay, I'm gonna save this one for later. And let's go ahead and grab my last two ingredients, which are extremely powerful. This is almost like a multivitamin itself. Tons of protein again. I mean, that's one thing. You can get enough protein without having to eat specific foods that people think you must eat that sometimes can have other negative side effects. I try to get the cleanest protein I possibly can, but it's more than protein. It's more about nutrients, and that's hemp hearts. These are a little harder for people to find. I definitely didn't have enough, which is one of the reasons that when I went downstairs, I grabbed one. Look at this, just magical. Magic pack here in front of us. Now let's see what this has in it. It has so many good ingredients, but let's see. No vitamin C, but it does have a really good amount of zinc. And so did the powder that I put in there and a lot of the food. So it all works out. That's why I make it all mixed it up like this and make sure to get all my nutrients, which is what this is basically designed for. Wow, I can't believe I'm feeling better already. That's nice. That's actually almost amazing. Okay. Wonderful. Wonderful. Oh no. Boy, I am just making mess after mess. I just spilled a bunch of my hemp hearts. I just opened a brand new bag, guys. Oh, that's so disappointing. I hate to waste those, guys. Okay. Well, this is what we're going to have to do today. Let's clean up. All right, let's try this out. Okay. It's quite good. Okay. A lot of chlorophyll today. Let's go sit down and have our last ingredient. Maybe we can read about chlorophyll. Not really one of the biggest ingredients on my list, though, I gotta say. It was actually one that I don't normally add. But let's just read a little bit about it today. See what we can learn. Like I said, we read about it before. Obviously, it's good for it. I mean, you get it. You get it. This is the thing about chlorophyll. You get it from your green vegetables. And so I feel that I get enough for sure. Here's my last ingredient, inhaling the hydrogen while I have my smoothie to help combat any of the potential oxalates in my food, absorb nutrients better, any free radicals that might be in me. Just for so people know, a lot of people don't realize that with every meal you eat, you're basically aging. That was some interesting data. You can go read about that. And it was a big discovery. And it makes a lot of sense because of the strain, that it puts on your system. And that's the reason that the cleaner the food, the easier it is on the body. And this is also the reason why fasting is important. Okay, let's take out the earpiece. See if you can still hear me. And let's just read a little bit about chlorophyll today. Let's see here. Okay. Chlorophyll. Okay. It is the pigment that makes plants green, by the way. So, it does have antioxidants and anti-inflammatory properties. Oh, it's really good for the skin healing, the skin heal. Some claims, I'm not making any, but on the internet, some claims that it boosts your red blood cells, heals damaged skin, neutralizes toxins, cuts inflammation, prevents cancer. It's got to be something more than that, though. Let me see. Now, there are certain medications that interact with chlorophyll. Specifically medications, I don't know if this has to do with chlorophyll, but yeah, never mind. That has to do with medications that make you susceptible to damage from the sun. And methotrexate interacts with chlorophyll. It might slow down how quickly methotrexate is removed from the body. So that's interesting. I want to see chlorophyll for immune system. How's that? According to registered dietitians, environmental health specialists, chlorophyll is full of antioxidants. Yeah, I mean, that would make sense. Very therapeutic, especially for the immune system. Anti-inflammatory again. And it does appear to help the immune system function properly. Interesting. Okay, let's read your comments. Bulky Pug says, oh my God, you're going to turn into a plant. Probably. Ski Coacher says, well, change seems hard for some people. If you want something you've never had, you may have to do something you've never done, especially with your health. I would agree, Ski. Yeah. The one that surprises me is I really am learning that the majority of people don't drink enough water. In fact, let's see if we can find some statistics on that. How many people in America are dehydrated? How's that? Well, the majority of adults do not hydrate themselves, even close. Wow. Not even close to the recommended levels. I mean, maybe if they were like, they're close. Not even close. Oh, they got some good charts here. Let me see. There have been studies on this, multiple studies, and the studies show that 75%, wow, that's a lot, guys. 75% of adults suffer from chronic dehydration, just chronically, all the time. Wow, that's a lot. That's almost 80%. Interesting thing about some of these charts, Percentage of adults that suffer from dehydration. There is a country that's worse than America, and that is the UK, or no, I'm sorry, Australia. Australia, 80% of the people are chronically dehydrated. In America, 75%. In France, 75%. Somehow Germany is only 50%, so they're quite a bit lower. But that still means that half their people are chronically dehydrated, but that's interesting. Huss says, I got a hydrogen machine recently. I'm feeling good. There you go, my friend. Make sure to watch video 337 and 426. That would be my opinion. Oh, here's an interesting one. Water consumption per day in liters. Optimal levels. Let's see here. Something's going on here. I gotta look at these charts because they have Japan on here, and it's like Japan and China are off the charts. Everybody else is. I gotta see what this means. This is interesting. Dehydration reported symptoms. Oh, you guys want to hear symptoms of dehydration? See if maybe any of you have any of these symptoms and all it is dehydration. Well, pimples, muscle cramps, rapid pulse, rapid breathing, muscle weakness, lightheadedness, dizziness, headache, lack of focus, fatigue, dark colored urine. That's one of the easiest ways to know. Decreased urination. People always complain on my protocols that they gotta pee all the time. I'm like, guys, that's normal. That's funny. Dry skin, dry tongue, thirst, and dry lips. Gina says, I'm definitely dehydrating. How long does it take to make hydrogen water? It depends on the equipment, but the equipment that I use, you can make 1.5 liters in 30 minutes, but it goes into standby mode, so it maintains hydrogen all the time. Bulky Pug says, and my Hydrofix has made me regular. Definitely has. You know what, Bulky, that is so important and so true in my opinion. I have seen it a lot for people who are constipated, and me also. The hydrogen really seems to help move the bowels. I think personally it's affecting the peristaltic muscles. Really, really amazing. Good for you. That's so important for your health, Bulky Pug. Maybe you won't be so bulky. Does keto with hydrogen water work well? Well, yeah, I mean, hydrogen water will work well with any diet. It's like saying, will drinking water work well with keto? Absolutely. Hydration, but if anything, with a keto diet, to be quite honest with you, the hydrogen water would be even more important because you have to read the data on long-term keto. I kind of don't understand why people promote it so much, because the long-term data appears to actually strain your kidneys and potentially causes kidney problems. In fact, let me see here. I mean, I'm pretty sure of this, but let's just see. Long-term keto diet effects on kidneys. Because I remember reading about this already. Okay, long-term effects of keto diet has shown to increase your chance of chronic kidney disease. Can you guys still hear me, by the way? Because let me know if you can still hear me. Comment below, because I can't tell. When somebody tries to call me and I refuse the call, sometimes all of a sudden you can't hear me again. So, yes? Okay, good. So that's the first thing about keto, about long-term usage. You can develop chronic kidney disease. The research has also linked keto diet. Oh, so there has been research that the keto diet to increase decline in kidney function. So your kidneys won't even work as good, especially for people who already have kidney problems or are predisposition to have kidney issues. Please remember, none of this is medical advice or making any medical claims. So yes, I would absolutely be drinking the cleanest water with hydrogen if I was doing keto. Let's see. And it even says, how can you try to protect your kidneys? There you go. During keto. It says, well, ideally you obviously want to consume a good amount of water. However, different liquids may likewise help forestall kidney stones. So, wow, you could even potentially get kidney stones from it. So basically, stay properly hydrated is going to be a really important one. Of course, it says limit the intake of animal protein. You know, that's what people eat though on keto. Avoid foods that form stones. Interesting, it says avoid vitamin C supplements while on keto. Yeah, because I think that's actually something that affects kidney stones when you're on keto. Is keto hard on the liver also? So the keto diet appears to be able to cause low blood pressure, kidney stones, constipation, nutrient deficiencies, and an increased risk of heart disease. And see, I was aware, this is why I don't understand why it's so highly promoted. This is like clear data, by the way. This is not like, these are not theories. They've done studies on this. I read a lot about it. That's why I don't know why it's so popular. Strict diets like keto could also cause eating disorders. That's weird. Keto is not safe for those with any conditions involving their pancreas, liver, thyroid, and gallbladder. I guess people didn't like that message. Everybody left. Yes, sir. Keto must be cycled. Long-term is disastrous. Yep. Absolutely. But I would load up on a ton of hydrogen water. I would inhale while you eat your meals if you can. That's what I would do if I did keto. I focus more on nutritional deficiencies rather than the whole keto thing. So how long can you keto safely? So let's see, according to the data. Although you can have success for short periods of time, the long-term research is where you really got to look. Boy, the absolute maximum, like crazy maximum, dude, I would never go this far, but it says like, 4 to 6 months. Jeez, I can't imagine being on keto that long. What are the biggest dangers though? I mean, I already know, I think we already went over those. I mean, apparently, let's see. I guess we can just look at the biggest dangers, but apparently there is a link between losing muscle and keto. Is nebulizing hydrogen water good for the lungs? You don't need to nebulize it, you inhale it. You don't nebulize hydrogen water. You can inhale the hydrogen gas if you have the right equipment. So it's way better than nebulizing. I appreciate what you do, bro. God bless you, man. Oh, thanks, Huss. And yes, you can hear me. Okay. So muscle loss is one of the interesting ones that I think really shocked a lot of people. Yes, it puts stress on the kidneys and even can cause kidney stones and gout. Ugh, that would suck. The possibilities of low blood sugar can make keto risky for people who have diabetes. Okay, so that's for people who have diabetes. One danger apparently is because it's hard for people to stay on keto, it causes them to go into a yo-yo type of diet, which actually in the data shows that it will most likely increase abdominal fat accumulation and even the risk of diabetes. Wow, these researchers were, let's see here. Yeah, okay, interesting. The keto diet can also lead to dehydration and loss of electrolytes. Yes. Nutrient deficiencies, yes. Not enough fiber. I always talk about fiber. It's so hard to get enough of it. Bowel problems is a big one. Constipation, it's gonna dirty up your blood. I'm all about the clean blood, by the way. Let's see. Apparently it causes bad breath. That's funny. They call it a symptom of the keto flu. Your breath, you know what's funny? These really clean diets, like what I do, it does help. I don't have, it really helps with breath. That's really interesting because it's all linked to your gut, right? Hydrogen, clean water, clean diet. My breath is actually, I've never had anybody complain, let's put it that way. And I mean, I would smell my own and I'm very happy with it, let's put it that way. Let's see. Ketosis is eliminated mostly through the lungs and the breath, according to the research. Acetone is a type of ketone known for its fruity aroma in smaller concentrations. Small. But they said it's a common side effect. Interesting. The amount of time that you undergo keto, there's all sorts of different changes that will happen to your body. The way it affects estrogen, progesterone, hormones, blah, 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 Interesting. Long-term disruption of menstruation can bring serious side effects, including low bone density. That's interesting. Studies have found increased risk also when you have menstrual irregularity, increases your risk. Then you start having cardiovascular disease, depression, anxiety, and even sexual function. That's interesting. Because I think everybody wants good sexual function, right? And a healthy heart. And not to be depressed. That probably would cause depression. Anxiety. All that wonderful stuff. Seems to cause, interesting, insulin and hormonal balances. How about testosterone? Let's see what it did. They did a study, the Journal of Medicine in 2020, did a ketogenic diet for 12 weeks. And they actually got lower testosterone. But yet an increase in estrogen. So it kind of messes with your hormones. That's why I actually don't like to eat any food with hormones. That's why I don't eat eggs, meat, seafood, dairy. Once in a long while, like I said, I might have a fish or even eggs, but very, very seldom, to the point where it's definitely not something I do on the regular at all. And it just, because this is exactly why, the way it disrupts the hormones. I want to see if my body can do it all on its own. And so far the blood work has been good on that. So it has been working. Keto can also cause your blood sodium to dip. Oh yeah, okay. It can also lead, wow, keto, according to research, can lead potentially to high cholesterol and even to heart disease. Yep, okay. What everybody should do before they even try keto. Okay, and that's that. So that's probably enough information about keto, I think, for today. I probably should say goodbye, guys. Sir, my uncle is on dialysis. He has to restrict water intake. Will hydrogen help his kidney function? Well, I can tell you that even one of my own family members was this close to getting on dialysis. Now, what you can do when you're on dialysis, this is not medical advice, so it's not a good question to ask me. But I can tell you what I would do, because I've seen it work for my own family members. There's foods that you want to avoid, but I'm not going to necessarily go into all that right now, because the reason I won't go into it is because people never want to follow the protocol. So I'm not even going to bother. As far as hydrogen is concerned, yeah, I've seen it. The biggest things you want to do with hydrogen and a kidney function, again, this is what I would do. This is not medical advice. This is what I would do. Is one, find out how much water he's allowed to drink. And I would drink the cleanest water. This is so important when you have kidney problems. I just had a story about it yesterday. It was unbelievable, but I won't go into the whole story again. I'm just going to say that super clean water full of hydrogen. clean, properly made hydrogen, not the kind, because I've seen the kind where when you use chemicals like lye and drink that water, I've seen people actually have kidney failure from that. So it has to be done correctly. You know the equipment that I use. I mean, this is what I would use, obviously. I only use the best. So that's what I would use. Drink the limit that you're allowed on an empty stomach. Don't do it with the food. Just drink your water that you're allowed on an empty stomach, and then do a lot of the inhalation from, again, a very clean device like this one that I used. It's called the Lourdes Hydrofix Premium. You can find them at holyhydrogen.com. I cannot emphasize enough that you want the cleanest water. The kidneys do not do well with any contaminants in the water. And eat as clean as possible. Cannot have pesticides. You have to eat super clean, in my opinion. Okay, grab more smoothie. So, I don't know if that helps, but that's what I'll tell you. Yeah, when your kidneys go down, that is a problem. I mean, it's a major problem. If anything, you want to prevent before they go down. I wouldn't even know, I'd even ask, I think it was Huss, I would almost be curious why you're doing the keto diet. Like, what's the purpose? Like, because are you doing it to try to get healthy, or, what's the purpose here? Gina says, how do you inhale it? Is there a video? There's multiple videos, Gina. I got over 400 videos. They're all there, and I'm inhaling right now, see? And I'm literally inhaling right now from my Hydrofix. Yep, it's super easy. The Japanese made it so easy. They took something so complex and simplified. I love it. Yep, lots of videos on how to do all this stuff. Okay, so with that being said, guys, apparently almost everybody's dehydrated. You know what? I want people to understand how important it is to be properly hydrated, though. Because, let's see here. Let's see if we can. So dehydration, by the way, puts you at high risk for kidney stones. If you're properly hydrated, it also boosts your metabolism. So these things are going to help you to also not, basically not get overweight and also not be unhealthy. But let me give you, and by the way, hydrogen water appears to actually appears to hydrate you even better. But let's see here. I want to see, because it's so important to be properly hydrated. One, it helps, well, let's see. It helps regulate body temperature. That's important. Staying mentally focused, clearing your skin, lubricating your joints, maintaining your digestive system is super important. Helping your blood flow, which is super important. That's one of the things that hydrogen does better than anything I've ever seen. Protects your kidneys. And that's what's funny, right? Because do you exhale too? Of course I do, bulky bug. Or are you just joking? How did I live this long? Oh, me? How did you live this long? Huss says, my rationale behind experimenting with keto was before taking hydrogen water. Sticking to low carb made me feel better versus consuming them, if that makes sense. Well, yeah, you don't want to consume too many carbs. That's the problem. I think people consume way too many. When I'm at the store, I see so many carbs in people's carts, but then they want to go the extreme and just stop it all. I think you just want healthy carbs, like fruits and vegetables, But the body just doesn't function right. The body won't function correctly or properly when dehydrated. So it leads to loss in strength and stamina, of course. There's all these the kidney function doesn't really work very well, and obviously increased risk of kidney stones. But there's more than that. I remember there was, I was trying to find this data that how it affects just so many things. And I'm trying to find that information right now. I mean, here's one, just right off the bat, how it can affect even your hormones being dehydrated. That's interesting. Let's see here. Nope. I was trying to find this like really, really new data that I'd read a while back. Well, okay. I can't find it right now and I have to get going to work. So, all right, guys, I'll tell you one thing, real simple, super important to be properly hydrated. Is that enough? And if you can use cleanest water, that makes it even better. If you can use cleanest water with hydrogen in it, now you've just created like practically like holy water, like Lourdes, France, just so you know. That's what they found about their secret healing waters of Lourdes, is that they found out that it was the hydrogen in it that was making it magical. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. Take care, you too. And I'll see you guys next time on the next one.